she and her.
He, him.
My pronouns are she and her.
She and her.
She and her.
My pronouns are they, them.
She, her.
My pronouns are she and her.
Hi, my name is Windsor. I'm a physiotherapist. My pronouns are he, him. Share your pronouns.
Hello, my name is Jackie Small and my pronouns are she and her. I'm the chair at Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundations Trust. In simple terms, a pronoun is a short word that can be used to avoid having to repeat someone's name when you talk about them. Some examples are she, her, they, or them. At MPFT, we're committed to ensuring that LGBTQ+ people working for us or accessing our services feel safe and that they're respected in their identity and they don't face discrimination. MPFT is delighted to be just one of 10 NHS trusts to be selected to take part in a national pilot for Phase 2 of the Rainbow Badge Scheme. This demonstrates our commitment to supporting and valuing LGBTQ+ staff and ensuring inclusive practices within our services.
Hello, my name is Baz Kaur and my pronouns are she and her. I'm the Associate Director for Equality and Inclusion at Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. It's okay to ask someone what pronouns they use. You can do this by simply asking, what pronouns do you use? Or what are your pronouns? However, the easiest way to encourage someone to share their pronouns is to introduce yourself first with your own pronouns. You can do this by saying, I'm Baz and my pronouns are she and her. It's also helpful to include your pronouns in your digital communications, for example in your email signature or your Microsoft Teams profile.
My name's CJ and my pronouns are they, them. I'm a therapist at Inclusion Thurrock NHS Talking Therapy Service within Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. We all most likely use pronouns throughout our day without really thinking about it. When people meet someone like me, they suddenly have to think about how they use pronouns, and it can be tricky to make an adjustment to something that usually comes so naturally. I identify as non-binary and gender fluid, and I feel incredibly seen and accepted when people use my pronouns correctly. And research has shown that using correct pronouns has a hugely positive impact on people's mental health and well-being.
Pronouns. They are such tiny words, but they are words that mean so much. Words that in many ways define us. I still get misgendered at some times, even though it's 20 years since I transitioned. I can't think of any occasion where that's been deliberate, but however unintentional, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. When it happens to me, it suddenly feels like it excludes me, brings back all those insecurities and fears that I wouldn't be accepted as a woman.
Feeling valued and respected is important to everyone. It is the essence of belonging. No matter what your identity, by using the pronouns of a trans or non-binary person, you are validating them in their gender and showing you respect them. In addition, sharing your own pronouns signals to LGBTQ+ people that you are an ally, and so creates a work and care environment where it's easier for those who are trans or non-binary to be themselves and share their pronouns too.
When I first came out, it took a little while for my friends and family to adjust, and it was so lovely to discover that they'd been practicing together so they'd get it right when they were with me. Using someone's pronouns correctly shows that you respect them. And when someone uses my pronouns, it enables me to feel comfortable with that person and in that situation.
So what should we do if we accidentally misgender somebody? What we suggest is that you politely apologise and correct yourself if necessary. But don't make a big fuss. It's important that we don't ignore it. It's important we try and get it right. It is about respect. As pronouns are often used without being in the presence of the person, when we're referring to each other, it can often happen when people are talking about somebody. We also think it's important that if misgendering happens in those circumstances, that we politely correct each other, because that way it becomes less likely to happen in the future.
You should use the pronouns someone has asked you to use, regardless of how that person appears or sounds to you. Some people use they and them as gender-neutral pronouns instead of he, him, she or her. Using they and them is easy. For example, I like Ashley, they are kind, I work well with them.
We use they them pronouns throughout our day, probably without even realising it. Like, oh look, someone's left their phone here, they'd be lost without it. Also, you can't always tell someone's pronouns from how they look. If you're unsure, it's okay to ask at an appropriate time. You might say something like, hi, my name's CJ, my pronouns are they them, how about you? Or you could see if their pronouns are in their Teams profile or their email signature. And remember, you don't always need to understand the ins and outs of why someone might be using pronouns or have an understanding of their gender identity to respectfully use their pronouns.
The opposite side to misgendering is the absolute positive affirmation that comes when you are correctly gendered. I'll never forget the first time that I was referred to as a woman. I was referred to as madam and she. It was in a Tesco's in Uttoxeter in 2005. That shop assistant was the very first person to see me as who I am. They see me as authentic. They saw me as a woman. And I'll never forget that moment. And it will be the same for people, whether it be patients or colleagues or friends or family, that, referring to people correctly will be such a positive thing for them. Even now, 20 years on, I get a tiny ping of joy in the back of my brain somewhere when I get correctly gendered pronouns. It's really important that we get it right.
She and her.
My pronouns are she, her.
My name's Neil, and my pronouns are he and him.
She and her.
She and her.
My pronouns are he and him.
She and her.
Share your pronouns!